am here with Yanick, who is the co-founder of bilateralstimulation.io. Yanick, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Rothan.
Yeah, Yanick, so we are going to look in just a minute at bilateralstimulation.io, the virtual platform that allows EMDR therapists to work virtually. You also created the first virtual buzzers that we were going to talk about in a separate video. But before we get into that, I just want to say a few words of appreciation and thank you for creating this platform when we really needed it at the beginning of the pandemic. The whole world was confused. A lot of people needed to continue their EMDR therapy, and you just created that platform to allow EMDR therapists to keep working. You offered it for free for a very long time. You still offer it for free, but you also have now a pro version. So I am ready when you are for you to share your screen and show us this platform.
Thank you, Rodham. Yeah, let me dive right in and show you how it works. So I originally built this, as you said, at the beginning of COVID for my former therapist. That was an EMDR client, and EMDR helped me a lot. And then I built bilateralstimulation.io to enable my former therapist to practice online at the beginning of COVID. And it started as a very small tool for just a visual bilateral stimulation. Today, it's a tool used by more than 10,000 EMDR therapists for visual, auditory, and also tactile bilateral stimulation over the internet. So I'm on our homepage now, and when I click on Start BLS Session, I get into a bilateral stimulation session. And you can see here visual, auditory, and tactile. I can see down here a little preview of the bilateral stimulation. So if I start it, I can see it running here, and I can make it faster, I can make it slower, I can change the appearance of the visual. And how do I now use this? Well, I send a link to my client. So I click on Invite Clients here. And just like I would send a video call link to my client, I now also send them this BLS link. And then when the client opens it, what they see is just the BLS. So then me as the therapist, when I turn it on, it turns on for the client, and the client could be, in the same city or in a different country or on a different continent. And I can do this BLS over telehealth with them. So if I make it faster here, it goes faster for the client. If I make it slower, it goes slower for the client. It's almost instant, no matter where the client is. And I can customize it in different ways. So we saw the different colors. We can also make it go diagonal, which some therapists like to use to increase working memory taxation. For example, if the client is dissociating a bit, we have infinity shape here, or we have plain old horizontal. We have a lot of child therapists who use it, who use these illustrations here. So we have different animals, for example, this unicorn here, or different emojis, and that's been very popular. We can add auditory bilateral stimulation. So we have different sounds here, and then these play synchronously left and right with the bilateral stimulation. And lastly, we're going to talk about this in a separate video, but I can also show it to you already. We have tactile bilateral stimulation. So using our own buzzers that we developed, our own hardware, you can provide tactile bilateral stimulation over the internet at different intensities and different speeds. But yeah, we'll have a separate video on that. One last thing I want to show you is, let's say I have a lot of different clients and they have a lot of different preferences with regards to the BLS. Yeah. I can save these preferences here, and then the next time I can load it, and it loads it up according to the client's preferences. So we can see here, this client prefers the yellow dot at speed 7.5 with the finger snap and prefers this image in the background. So that's another thing that you can do, is instead of just colors, you can have different images. We have some soothing nature images. We have some triggering images, which some people like to use for exposure therapy, for example, first responders, hospitals, fire, a bar, germs, social anxiety. In a couple of weeks, we will launch the ability to upload your own image. So that's something that a lot of therapists have asked for, where they want to maybe upload something that's very specific to a particular client or a particular trauma or a particular calm place. And soon that will be possible too. So this is the complete software. As you can see, we try to keep everything very simple. We try to keep it very easy to use. You can use all of this without registration, without sign up. When you send a link to the client, they just click on the link and they're right in. You know, they don't need to provide any data. We don't know who they are. They just click on the link and they're right in. And then you as the therapist can actually also use it without needing to create an account. So if I just go to the homepage here without an account, I click on Start BLS Session, it transports me right into a session. And here you can see how it looks without an account, the free version of the tool. So I can do basic visual bilateral stimulation in different colors. I can use all the different speeds. I can do auditory stimulation. And if I have the buzzers, I can also do tactile stimulation. Now you can see that without an account, some of the features are locked. So if I want to change the background color, if I want to change the direction, if I want to use the child-friendly BLS motives that I showed, I will need to sign up for the paid professional plan, which the pricing depends on the country, but in the US, it's $150 a year or $15 a month to unlock all the features of the software. So you can use the basic version for free, but if you want to have all the features, that requires the paid professional plan. We always want to keep the basic version free because we want to keep it accessible to maybe part-time therapists, therapists who are just getting started, therapists in developing countries. So we have a lot of users, for example, in Latin America. We have some users in Africa. And in general, we always want to keep this basic version available for them. So yeah, that is the summary of the software. Does that make sense to you?
So I have been using bilateral stimulation.io before you even had a pro version. And I have to say that the basic version really allows you to continue doing EMDR virtually with limited features, but you have the basics. You have eye movements, you can change some colors, you can add sounds. So of course, the pro version allows you to do more and you have more features, and it allows you that integration of the virtual buzzers that we are going to talk about in a separate video. But it really allows you to keep doing your work virtually. So Yanick from bilateralstimulation.io, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Rotem.